Chapter 21, The Girl of My Dreams, page 159. Once everyone was pretty much packed inside, the ceremony came to quick order. An old man, Mr. Savari, not a contrived name I assure you, familiar with Javanese customs, started things off by launching into some speech in Bahasa Indonesian. I had no idea what he said, and when he finished, he passed the microphone to Father Charlie. It wasn't until I looked around, for the first time since pairing up with Welland, that I felt so unbelievably uncomfortable. The place was packed to the rafters, as they say. Indeed, I caught some unfortunate souls standing outside, peeking through the window. Adding to my nervousness was the fact that it was very hot, the high 80s, I think. The slight din of murmuring ended the moment we heard Father Burrows clear his throat. As Father Charlie waved his hands about in true oratory form, his words seemed to charm, if not captivate, all witnesses present. Even though I was nervous, I took notice that at any one time there were 2 video cameras going to document this magnanimous occasion. One was a paid gentleman videographer with the entertainment crew, while the other was amateur Dewey using Big Sis's cheapy cam to video events from the far side of the crowded room. Meanwhile, this handsome young man, Pandu, was using my cybershot to take highlight stills of the event. I was rather impressed by how well Father C spoke Bahasa Indonesian, but then he lived in this country for a very long time, since before Welland was even born. After lots of talking in a language completely alien to me, Father Burrows was presented with a pillow adorned with our 2 rings. He squinted at this for the longest while. In his prolonged hesitation, many things came to mind. Did he think they were very drab, or the diamonds too small, I wondered? Did the old man suddenly recall he forgot his glasses and he was having trouble seeing these golden objects? Then I got it. His hesitation suggested he didn't know whose ring was whose. Mine was ever so slightly bigger in diameter, but hers had the greater number of diamonds. It dawned on me my pinky ring, probably when placed side by side with Welland's, was a fairly close match. Showing the shrewdness of his age, Father C twisted towards me to allow me to choose. I found hers readily and wasted no time in placing it on my delicate fiancé's second finger. A string of flashes went off as Welland smiled to show off the ring to everyone present. She pretended to admire it, although it had perhaps the world's smallest diamonds on it. I momentarily felt bad I couldn't afford something more substantial. But I promised her beforehand I'd gladly upgrade her when she came to live with me and we got hitched for real. Then it was Welland who was next presented with the pillow. She grabbed hold of my ring, but when she began to slip it on my pinky finger, she failed miserably. Despite multiple efforts, she grinned with embarrassment until I shouted out, "Push! Push!" which, although in English, most of the attendees present fully comprehended. I think everyone realized the problem was my confounded giant hands. Everyone was laughing now, while we hastily worked in tandem with me grinding my left hand into her right hand. While it probably only took a few seconds at best, to us, the international team, it seemed an eternity as we collectively gritted our teeth, wriggled our hands around to finally force that confounded ring onto my stubborn first finger. Blushing still, Welland emerged victorious with a few nervous giggles, then some clapping, followed by a continuation of the ceremony. Because Welland was given the microphone and she spoke in Indonesian, I couldn't be sure exactly what she said, but I sensed it was both honest and heartfelt. When it was my time with the mic, I damn near panicked. This was simultaneously the moment I dreaded and secretly yearned for, perhaps my entire life. In this moment of truth, I could honestly feel my heart pounding in my chest. I was looking around in wide-eyed panic until I realized only a handful of people in the room would truly comprehend my English. This relaxed my mental death grip I had on a flood of emotion, long enough to get a grip on my wits. And then, call it divine intervention, I had a most rare occurrence, an epiphany. Miraculously, the words just formed in my head. I searched a long time to meet the girl of my dreams. and would gladly do so 100 times again to be with my Welland. Now, since I spoke in English, no one understood this. Sure, there were a couple flashes and a few folks that took to clapping nervously, but I feared the worst, that by choosing brevity in my little impromptu speech, I didn't wow the crowd much. Seeing this problem, the ever so shrewd Father Charles Burroughs took control of the microphone, and I heard him translate this to all caring people present. This time, when he finished, they all clapped gleefully, loudly, and I distinctly heard a few ahs and ohs. "What do you know, Brewster? You did a pretty decent job in your speech after all," I told myself. Either that, or perhaps this cagey gentleman just embellished a tad. With that, my officially engaged mate and I kissed and smiled for the cameras, and more importantly, for all those eager people who happily attended our quaint engagement party.